Brigadier Gininda, just a few aspects arising from your evidence yesterday. You testify that you were appointed as the lead investigator in this matter. Okay. Brigadier, you testified yesterday that you were appointed the lead investigator in this matter. Now, before your appointment as the lead investigator, was there a lead investigator before you?
That is correct, my lord. And it was then Brigadier Shibiri. He is now a Major General, Major General Shibiri. Yes. Major General Shibiri. He's the head of the national head of the organized crime.
As far as you could establish, did he take any of the witnesses' statements in this matter?
His team, my lord. So he was the lead, but I know that some of his members did take statement, and I got that from the briefing because one had to consult with him after this mandate was given to me, that he was actively involved in the investigation. In fact, my lord, he was the lead investigator, but the coordinator, the person that was assigned to coordinate the investigation was Brigadier Sinondo, who is now a Major General in the provincial office of the Hawks in KZN. He was the coordinator of the team. General Shibiri was the lead investigator.
You testified yesterday that Warrant Officer Makhubo deposed to the A1 statement in the docket First Lawrence 3751 of 2019.
Yes, my lord. I said, actually, according to the case system, he is registered as the complainant. I was trying to find, to get my hands to the copies of 375, but he is registered as the complainant in that case, my lord.
Yeah. You also mentioned the second name that is associated with the docket, the name of Lieutenant Colonel Butelezi. Do you know if she also deposed to an affidavit in docket 3751 of 2019?
Yes, I've seen her affidavit, my lord.
Now, at this stage in the game, we cannot afford for the defense to be caught sleeping, okay? Why do I say that? The defense was supposed to object at this point. Why? Because hearsay evidence. Baloyi is asking Gininda about his conversation with the previous lead investigator. Yes, absolutely. It was Brigadier Shibiri, but now he is a Major General, okay? Major General Shibiri, and he's the national head of, I don't hear what he says, okay? Then Baloyi says, okay, did he take any witness statements in that matter? And Gininda says, well, according to the briefing that I got, yes, that was done by his team. He actually had a coordinator, and the coordinator is a Brigadier Sinondo, who is now, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, of course, you already know, Major General of the Hawks in KZN. Now, I know you don't believe me, so I'm going to say rewind the video, okay? Rewind the video so you hear it. Key things I want you to pay attention to: the voice and the tone that Brigadier Gininda is using when he speaks of his colleagues, or should I say his higher ranked colleagues, in this case Major Generals. Both of them are now Major Generals. Now you see, my inquisitive mind is saying, okay, wait, so they worked on the SENZO MEYIWA trial and now they're both Major Generals? I'm not saying there's anything wrong with them being Major Generals. I'm saying Brigadier Gininda has a lot to gain by, rubbing his shoulders with his higher ranked colleagues, and also in this case speaking of them in a higher manner, if you know what I mean. So when I say rewind, that's because YouTube tells me. Did you know that? YouTube tells me when you rewind a video, it tells me when you rewinded, how long you rewinded for, and if you shared my video. Those are stats that I receive. So I insist, please do make sure you rewind here and listen to the part where he talks about Major General Shibiri and Major General Sinondo. These two names are now new names that have now been introduced, and I believe here the defense was supposed to object profusely because, again, it's hearsay evidence. We don't know what they did in their investigation. We don't know why they are no longer the lead investigators of the SENZO MEYIWA trial. We don't know why Brigadier Gininda was then assigned the new lead, in quotations. Okay, we don't have those details, and to be quite frank, how does that solve when it comes to the murder of Senzo Meyiwa. Do you pick up what I'm saying? So basically, Baloyi is turning this into an inquiry within the South African police services, and I think this is very unfair to, first of all, the Senzo Meyiwa family, and also to us members of the public, because this is none of our business. What has this got to do with the crime at hand? This is an internal issue that needs to happen over there at the South African police services. I believe they have a police minister. An inquiry can be done over there. This has nothing to do with us. But since Baloyi has brought it here to the forefront, I'm going to analyze it. So that's my first analyzation. Analyzation, is that a word? That's my first analysis. That's my first analysis. Two of the former people that worked in the Senzo Meyiwa trial are now major generals. I'm not saying they don't deserve the role. I'm saying I'm noticing that as a pattern. Is Brigadier Gininda aspiring to be a major general? Maybe, I don't know. But what I do know is he speaks of them very highly. The reason I say rewind and listen, I want you to hear the tone that he uses, how he speaks of them, and how, it's like admiration. Like, think of work politics in your work environment. If somebody asked you about somebody who is your boss or who's in a department that you want to aspire to work in, would you give dirt on them? And especially knowing it is streamed live and they might actually be watching this as well? Think about it. In the work environment is one chaotic place. But so then Baloyi takes us down to more of Brigadier Gininda's colleagues. Unfortunately or fortunately, these two colleagues, they have placed a complaint against Brigadier Gininda. Do you want to take a guess what his tone is when he speaks about them? I'll let you be the judge. But he speaks. Baloyi asked him, yesterday you spoke about Warrant Officer Makhubo, that he deposed an A1 statement in the docket 375-1 of 2019. Gininda jumps in. Okay, interpreter, you can dream of trying to interpret at this point, because Brigadier Gininda jumps in immediately and says, yes, my lord, he is registered as the complainant. Okay. Baloyi then says, you also mentioned a second name, Lieutenant Colonel Buthelezi. Do you know if she also disposed of an affidavit in case 375-1 2019? Gininda again jumps in very fast and says, yes, I have seen her affidavit. Now, you see, I want us to pause on those words right there. See, that's the problem. When Baloyi brings things to us, we're going to analyze them. How did you see this? How did you see her affidavit? Because I believe, I could be wrong in my understanding of the law. How did you have access to her affidavit? These are your co-workers, and now you know what their complaints are about with regards to you, and this case hasn't even gone forward. It hasn't been taken up by the prosecutor, aka Baloyi, but Brigadier Gininda has seen her affidavit. That is giving strange work environment vibes. How did Gininda have access to her affidavit and that of Warrant Officer Makhubo? Because the case has not yet gone in front of a magistrate or a judge. So, how did you access the docket? How did you access the docket? Especially since the docket is about you. But you know what? Let me let you process that, and then at the same time, let's just drop it a few notches. Let's take it with civilians. So, for example, when the police come to charge you, you have no idea what that docket is. We have seen several times where the defense lawyers are like, we didn't get that. Baloyi is dropping in some new evidence. That's an ambush. We've seen that happen before. Are you picking up what I'm putting down? I'll ask you again. How did Brigadier Gininda have access to the affidavit if it hasn't been seen in front of a magistrate or a judge? That is the question I ponder for you. But let's continue on. I'll be back, of course, with the rest of my commentary.
I just wish to refer you to a proposition that was put to Lieutenant Colonel Mangena by Mr. Ngumezulu during the proceedings of the 28th of August 2024. It's on page 18. From line 7, Mr. Ngumezulu, are you aware that Warrant Officer Makhubo is investigating the docket 375/1/2019? Are you aware of that? Close quotations. Now, according to this proposition, Warrant Officer Makhubo is the investigating officer in First Lawrence 375/1/2019. Now, in the light of your evidence now, is it normal for someone who deposes to an A1 statement that is now the complainant statement to also be an investigator of that case?
So, my lord, no. So, to maintain objectivity, you will try to separate the IO from the investigator. It's a question of objectivity, because then you become, you are the complainant and you also conducting investigation. There are instances where police officers open cases. I've done it myself, but you will do the best that you can that the investigator is not necessarily a complainant, because there will be conflict. You can imagine when the IO collects evidence on his behalf, to sort of support his narrative as the complainant. So it's a practice that is not normal. That's what I would suggest.
You mentioned yesterday that you made copies of the docket in this matter, First Lawrence Case 63610 of 2014, and gave copies thereof to each member of your team. Are you aware if Warrant Officer Makhubo ever carried the original docket of 63610 of 2014?
No, my lord, he never carried that docket. When I ordered that copies must be made, I also gave a specific instruction that I will retain the original. So at no stage was the original given to any members, not only Warrant Officer Makhubo. They only had copies of the docket 636 of 10/2014. But the copies, my lord, were not made in isolation of them. In other words, it was not a situation where you come and say, here are the copies. They've had access to see the docket original when it was given to us. And then I then gave a directive to say copies will be made, and then so that one can analyze, what they see, and then we can come together to see, to pave the way forward. I do know, for example, my lord, that when copies were made for Lieutenant Colonel Buthelezi, it was made in the office. I delegated one of my members who took the original there, and then she made copies herself from her office out of the originals. But the original docket was always retained by me to date, my lord. Sorry, my lord, just to qualify that, the only time the original would leave my hands is when it was sent to the DPP in Johannesburg first, when we were looking into this matter, and the DPP in Pretoria. So those were the instances where it will go to the DPP and back to us, and DPP not Gauteng and back to me, my lord.
And when Brigadier Shibiri, hope this is correct rank, when Brigadier Shibiri was still the lead investigator, do you know if Warrant Officer Makhubo carried the original docket?
No, insofar as so the correct rank, my lord, is Major General Shibiri now. That's his rank. Insofar as I know, Warrant Officer Makhubo was not part of that investigation team, my lord. And the original docket was under the control of both Brigadier Shibiri, General Shibiri and General Sinono, because when we did the handing over, I had to sign the receiving of what was contained in the docket from them, my lord.
Now, in cross-examination of Lieutenant Colonel Mangena, Mr. Mngomezulu made the following proposition during the proceedings of 28 August 2024, page 18, regarding Warrant Officer Makhubo. And it starts at line 14, Warrant Officer Mngomezulu. I'm sorry, Mr. Mngomezulu. Let me get back into what we, as a version of Warrant Officer Makhubo. He said he was called, that is now Warrant Officer Makhubo, he said he was called to the scene. Upon his arrival, Cedric Sibia called him and asked him if he observed what has happened here, what could be his opinion. And Warrant Officer Makhubo, after he assessed the scene, he told General Sibia then and there that there are no intruders that came there. And just before that, in the first 5 lines of page 18, Mr. Mngomezulu put the proposition to Lieutenant Colonel Mangena. He says, Warrant Officer Makhubo was called by General Sibia that night. Upon his arrival, that is now upon the arrival of Warrant Officer Makhubo, General Sibia called him aside to assist him to reconstruct the crime scene and certain questions. Now, the first question to you is, what is your comment regarding this proposition that Warrant Officer Makhubo would have been called aside whilst on the scene by General Sibia and asked to reconstruct the crime scene?
So, my lord, I can't comment as to whether there was a discussion then between Warrant Officer Makhubo and General Sibia on that day. I don't know if they met and what was discussed. what I can refer to is the docket, because it's a guideline in terms of the preliminary analysis that was done on the 26th of October 2014, my lord. Now, my lord, if you take the docket into account and the facts that I'm going to mention subsequent to this, that proposition is baseless, and I'll indicate why. Now, number one, my lord, when you reconstruct a crime scene, and I'm starting there, you will require expertise, especially in this matter, because we have facts. It's not an assumption. You can look at what happened at this crime scene, the photos that were taken. There is blood, there's projectiles that was found. Logic dictates that you will expect blood splatters experts to be there, ballistic experts to be there, crime scene managers to be there. Those are experts who are qualified in the reconstruction of the crime scene. And that could not have been overlooked if you take into account the senior members of the police who were at this crime scene. Secondly, my lord, once that is done, in the docket, you would have found a statement from Warrant Officer Makhubo indicating, for example, what he has done in the reconstruction of the crime scene. In this docket that we've disclosed to the defense, there is no such statement. Secondly, there is no statement by anyone who was there, my lord, on the 26th of October 2014, indicating that Warrant Officer Makhubo was asked to reconstruct any crime scene. There is further no indication, whether from Warrant Officer Makhubo or any of the witnesses who were at the crime scene, including neighbors, that says they were interviewed by Warrant Officer Makhubo. Now, my lord, the only crime scene experts that we have in this docket, for the first time on the day of the incident, you will pick up Warrant Officer Musia, who was then subsequently followed by Mutlato on the following day, and the ballistic expert who came. On the 26th of October 2014, there is no indication, except the local detectives, even them who were present, their statements are there. There is no indication of this assertion that I'm being told about, my lord. And based on that, my lord, I see no basis, because I'm guided by the docket. As I say, I was not there when this thing happened, but the docket does not tell me that such was done, my lord.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how Brigadier Gininda did a mic drop, okay, on what? CAS 3751 of 2019. And the complainant being who? Warrant Officer Makhubo. And what did Brigadier Gininda do? He's back in that bus, that same bus that he drove over Constable Zungu, that bus where he threw Constable Zungu under the bus. He's taken Warrant Officer Makhubo, okay, and thrown him under the bus, okay, under the bus, and said, listen, I am guided by the docket, okay. The docket doesn't show me anywhere where Warrant Officer Makhubo even has a statement in here. There is no statement from him. There's no other statement in this docket that mentions him as being at the crime scene and constructing, or should I say reconstructing the crime scene. And never mind that, he is not a crime scene expert, because there are experts that do that, aka who? Mangena, ballistic expert, aka who? Blood splatter experts, aka who? Crime scene managers. And then he takes a moment to give a nod, okay, to Warrant Officer Masir, okay, a forensic expert that was at the scene, but then saw Kelly Kumalo and got really distracted, and in my opinion, did not pay attention to his job. And Gininda also says, you know what, there were very, very senior people over there. There's no way anyone was going to be sleeping at the job. No one skipped a step. And there is no witness that mentions this Makhubo. So therefore, ladies and gentlemen, what is Makhubo talking about? Reverses the bus on Makhubo and leaves him for dead. Figuratively, that is. That's my opinion. That is literally what he did. So he literally took what Ngomezulu said and threw it in the trash. Now, again, the defense, aka Ngomezulu himself, should have also objected at this point, because this is hearsay evidence. Makhubo is very much alive. Makhubo can be called to answer all these assertions and questions that Baloyi might have. So I feel the defense at this point should have objected, but knowing Ngomezulu, he's probably going to address it in cross-examination. So we're staying tuned for that one. We're definitely staying tuned for that one. So let me know in the comment section down below. I'm compiling a list of people that Baloyi owes us, okay? Because Baloyi is doing a lot of hearsay evidence. Baloyi owes us a lot of people that have to come back. Hearsay evidence number one, of course, Zungu Naiza's father, okay? Absalom Zungu, we need you on the stand. Okay, and then we also need Warrant Officer Makhubo, of course, We want to hear this from himself. And someone left a comment. Someone left me a comment and said, let's not forget, okay, the Kumalo uncle. We need him as well because his statement was read into the record. So if I want to compile a list. I want to do a separate video of all those that Baloyi owes us. So, we have an online record of witnesses that Baloyi owes us. Make sure you drop a comment down below and I'll take note of that. But you know what? I'm going to end this video here. Let me know your thoughts on that. Brigadier Gininda throws warrant officer Makhubo under the bus. Somehow, Lieutenant Colonel Butelezi, she survived. Notice he doesn't throw her under the bus. How did she survive? What did she say that he is not willing to talk about in an open court on record? That's an interesting one. You know what? Let me end this video here. So here we go. Mzansi Unfiltered, checking out. Catch you on my next upload.
It's my lot, I'm indebted. Yeah. As the court pleases, my lord, I'm indebted. Yeah.
If the grooves don't fit, quit the 5 accused. Nisi has done a fantastic job proving there was no match.